Good morning. It's 6:03. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Looking ready. Erin, local news, plenty of that next.
Battle over the Confederate monument heating back up. We'll talk more about that. Another student's in hot water in our area, and there's talk about putting God back in our classrooms.
A pretty impressive guest list this morning, including in this hour, including State Senator John Milkovich, who is at the heart of all this let's bring God back into the classroom
You bet.
thing. Want to talk about that a little bit. Plus Fletcher and sports and traffic and weather, and it's all here this hour coming up on KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
The battle over the Confederate monument heating back up. Matt Parker with that.
Ahead of their June 25th court date, the Daughters of the Confederacy have asked the judge to depose 4 of the 7 commissioners who voted to move the Confederate monument from the Caddo Courthouse grounds. The 4 commissioners in question, Lyndon Johnson, Stephen Jackson, Matthew Lynn, and Stormy Gage Watts, are fighting the request, unsure of why they've been singled out or why the public minutes from the meeting aren't enough. The UDC is suing the commission, saying the commission violated the organization's constitutional rights by ordering the monument moved. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Judge's request for more funds ignored by the Caddo Commission for now. Starting July 1st, 17-year-old offenders will be moved from the adult system and sent to juvenile lockups. Judge Paul Young says that will be a major problem in Caddo. He appeared before the commission to request funds to expand the facility and to hire additional staff, while Commission President Doug Dominic said he wants to work with the judges to find a solution. The commission dismissed Young without making any decisions or giving any answers. Another student in hot water for making threats. A Sabine Parish 7th grader arrested for making terroristic threats against Ebarb High School. According to the Sabine Sheriff's Office, this is the 8th student in 6 weeks to be arrested for making threats against schools in Sabine. Things got hot in the Senate Education Committee. New Orleans Representative Joe Bowie was discussing a bill placing a moratorium on charter schools. He said charter schools' disciplinary problems are cruel and that many persons ages 16 to 24 are either out of work or not attending school. Metairie Senator Conrad Apple became highly offended.
You are so far off base with your racial comments, it's disgusting. This committee has spent year after year after year trying to help all the children of this state.
After calling for an audit of the charter schools, Senator Conrad Apple went on a tirade, telling Bowie he was trying to make this a racial issue.
You accused us of being racist.
I didn't accuse you.
You did.
What did I say? Did I call you a racist?
That man's recording it right there.
I said that
man's recording it. You go
90%.
back and watch it.
I said 90% of those students are African American. That's what I said.
The bill to place a moratorium on charter schools never came up for a vote. A bill filed to let 19 and 20-year-olds buy alcohol by themselves if they pass a drinking responsibility class and have their parents' consent. Bill Platt Senator Eric LaFleur says binge drinking by young adults is a dangerous trend that's made worse by laws that try and often fail to bar young people from getting their hands on booze.
19 and 20-year-olds currently drink right now, whether it's in a public space or in a private space. You certainly don't see people binge drinking in a bar or in a restaurant or any other kind of public setting like that.
35 future state police cadets will graduate as part of the 97th state police class today. Sergeant Jared Sandifer says the class was one of the smaller ones in recent memory. They started with 49, but it's still a very good success rate with 71% moving on.
That is a very good number. So that's going to be 35 more state troopers out there keeping the citizens of Louisiana safe.
Sandifer says another class is expected to begin later this year. The adult film star who says she had an affair with President Trump will be in town this weekend. Stormy Daniels making appearances at Larry Flint's Hustler Club tonight and tomorrow. Lawmakers avert another government shutdown after Congress approved a giant $1.3 trillion spending bill that would end the budget battles for now. And Alabama voters will face the choice of whether to allow the Ten Commandments to be displayed on state property, such as at schools, under a ballot proposal for the November election. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Hi, I'm Dr.
9 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Time for Friday morning traffic. Here's Ruben.
Looks like everything's running nice and smooth for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on North Hearn Avenue near Ford Street. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning out breezy and warm today with intervals of clouds and sunshine, high about 80, breezy and mild with clouds and a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Good morning, 11 past 6 o'clock. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. If you codify, if you make a law, let me start with this. Are your insurance rates high enough?
Yeah, way high enough.
Then why would you want them higher?
I don't.
Then why on earth would anybody want to codify, to make law, to give 19 and 20-year-olds the right to drink? I'm looking at it as a crabby old guy who pays way too much for car insurance. When I moved here, this is legit. When I moved back here, when I moved back home in 1995, okay, admittedly a long time ago, but you know what's happened in the last 95, 05, 23 years? Rates haven't gone down, they've gone up, right? Here's what happened when I moved back here in 1995 from Ohio. When I was in Ohio, I got my car insurance through my American Express card. And it's called American Express Assurance. And in 1995, do you know what my annual insurance rate in the state of Ohio was?
No.
$323. Now, admittedly, it's 20 plus years ago, but listen to the point I'm going to make.
Right.
It was $323. So I moved back to Shreveport, and I call my American Express Assurance agent, and I say, I'm moving back to Shreveport, Louisiana. Can I transfer my policy? Where was that? Louisiana.
Yeah.
Pause. Deep breath. I'm sorry, Mr. Wright, but we don't operate in the state of Louisiana.
Oh, man.
I beg your pardon?
Not happening.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wright, but our policy is unavailable in the state of Louisiana. Why is that, I ask? Because I hadn't lived here for more than 20 years. I lived up north on the East Coast, Midwest, all over for about 25 or 20. I'm sorry, Mr. Wright, but our policy, our company does not operate. We are not licensed. We don't even try to operate in the state of Louisiana. And I say, why is that? You'll see when you get there.
Yeah.
So I move back here, and I shop around for policies. And the cheapest policy I can get is literally double what I was paying in the state of Ohio.
We're the highest in the country still.
Now, I ask you again, you want that to go up?
He says quite to the contrary.
Who's he?
Eric LaFleur, the senator.
That's wrong.
He says...
Get Jim Donelon on the phone and ask him what 19 and 20-year-olds drinking. Not only drinking, but codifying their drinking. Law, it's right here on the books.
It's legal, yeah. I mean, it was legal when I was 18.
I'm not arguing that.
And I didn't have any wrecks. I didn't cause any problems.
What I'm saying is, let's break this down even further. Let's let 19 and 20-year-old boys drink and make it legal. Does that seem like a good idea to you?
It really doesn't.
If you're a policeman, if say that out loud again, what I just said. I have an idea. Let's
let 19 and 20-year-old boys drink legally.
Yeah. And insure them.
Well, they'll just have to pay more.
No, you will pay more. You know.
Why do I have to pay for them?
Let me explain this to you also.
Oh, boy.
Because X number of people, and nobody really knows how many people in Louisiana drive without insurance. Some say 25, some say as many as 40%. Here's the story this is the story I always tell. This is the analogy I always use. And people say to me, you're in radio. Yes. So are you worried about things like satellite radio as a competitor? And I say, no, not really. They say, why? I say, 40% of the people in Louisiana don't have insurance. Mm-hmm. I'm not worried about people who are going to have to pay to listen to radio.
Yes. That's true. There's a small percentage.
40, if as many as, and some estimates are as high as, 4 out of 10 people in Louisiana drive without insurance. So if one of those people hits you, and 40% of accidents, let's extrapolate. If 4 out of 10 people don't have insurance, then 4 out of 10 people who are in wrecks don't have insurance. Who pays for that? Your insurance company does. Then what happens? Your rates go up.
Everybody's rates going up.
No matter who is at fault. If that person who hits you doesn't have insurance, your company's going to pay.
I don't think the bill has a chance, but we shall see.
Look, it's just from a cost perspective. Mm-hmm. It's just a bad idea for old people. And I'm talking about old people for anybody over the age of 22 who has insurance.
He says the bill would be a good first step to changing a drinking culture.
A drinking culture? Sure,
that can destroy young people's lives.
Well, okay. He thinks, well, you know what? Now kids go out and binge drink. In fact, I read the article. What he said was, instead of now going to frat parties or going to people's houses and binge drinking, they'll go to the bar. Mm-hmm. Yes, because kids going to the bar are so much more responsible. A 19-year-old is a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
A 20-year-old is a 20-year-old.
But he says the drinking age in most Western countries is 18. Why are we different?
Let me say it again. He can make all the arguments he wants, but I want you to say out loud, and I want to know what your gut reaction is when it comes to your insurance costs.
Not a good idea.
I have an idea. Let's let 19 and 20-year-old boys drink.
Not a good idea.
Okay, an amazing guest list today. Starting off in just about 20 minutes with State Senator John Milkovich.
Yeah, lots of God bills before the Education Committee.
There is one he calls the Teacher's Bill of Rights.
Yeah, that got shot down.
Did it really?
Yeah, it got shot down.
He can tell us about
Yeah,
that.
he'll tell
Then
us
there's
about
the In God We Trust bill, which would post the, and then there's another one that would,
It would let teachers
let me see if I
get
got
involved in prayer.
That's exactly what I thought it said. It would allow teachers to join in student-led prayer.
Yep. You know, I asked him a question last night when I was talking to him.
What's that?
I said, so how did the In God We Trust thing do in the committee? He goes, Erin, it sailed through. How do you vote against God? I'm going to vote no against In God We Trust.
But you know what?
But it's going to get struck down by the courts.
That's my whole point.
Which is,
you can pass all the things you want, but looking back just over the last 72 hours, when Mississippi passed the 15-week abortion bill, making abortion illegal, unavailable in that state past 15 weeks of pregnancy, and within hours, liberals, Democrats, pro-abortionists go judge shopping and find a federal judge.
Oh, yeah.
If you could, if you could pass all the bills you want, but all the, what is it? Freedom from Religion is one of the organizations.
You bet.
They've got judges on their speed dial
They're lining up already.
who are ready to strike down those state-passed bills. 19 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Ruben is here. Traffic time.
Everything's still looking all clear for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Industrial Drive near Old Minden Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast turning out breezy and warm today with intervals of clouds and sunshine, high about 80. Breezy and mild with clouds and a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Twenty-two past 6 o'clock, Keel Sports. Here's Tim.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Cinderella is alive and well in the NCAA tournament. 3 underdogs won Sweet 16 matchups. including ninth-seeded Kansas State knocking off SEC powerhouse Kentucky 61-58. The Big 12's Wildcats will face the darlings of the Big Dance, 11th-seeded Loyola of Chicago, who slipped past Nevada 69-68. Gonzaga, last year's national runner-up, fell to ninth-seeded Florida State 75-60. The Seminoles will face the only favorite to survive Thursday's Sweet 16 surprises. That's Michigan. The Wolverines wore out Texas A&M 99-72. This will be the first Elite Eight with more than one 9 seed still hanging around. The Pelicans are tied for the 4th spot in the Western Conference playoffs after rallying to beat the Lakers 128-125. New Orleans came back from an 11-point fourth-quarter deficit, with Anthony Davis paving the way with 33 points. Rajon Rondo added 24 points and 10 assists. This was the Pels' 5th game in 6 nights and their 3rd in 3 nights at home. And the Mudbugs host Corpus Christi tonight. A win at George's Pine and Hirsch Coliseum or a Lone Star loss to Amarillo will give the Bugs their first division title in NAHL play. Game time, 7:11 p.m. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
Oh, that's her name. 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 25 past 6 o'clock. The Jack Spring Electric Shockbuster button always ready.
We need
Haven't
it.
had to use that in a while because Stephen Jackson hadn't been here. Speaking of mayoral candidates, or at least mayoral candidates, tell me about this guy Young who's coming in at what, 8:10?
Yeah, John Paul Young will be. He's going to join us at 8:10 this
morning. Is he a declared candidate, or is he one of those?
He's having an announcement in the next few days.
So no,
he's in. Yeah.
I mean, he's not officially in. He's not like
nobody's officially in until they qualify.
Leo, well, that's true too.
But he has an event scheduled where he's making an announcement, so he's in.
So let me see. We have Leo Savage, who is in. We have John Paul Young, who is kind of in.
Ollie Tyler in.
Yeah. But everybody else, the Stephen Jacksons, the Adrian Perkins, all the others, they're sort
Jim
of
Talaferro. They've talked about
sitting on that fence.
They're on the fence. Everybody tells me they're all waiting to the April election till we see how the millages do, the renewals or not renewals, whatever you want to call them.
Why?
Because
why would that be sort of that line in the sand there, Colonel Travis?
Because that's a huge part of your budget if you were to become elected that you would or would not have in it. If any of those fail, that's money that's currently in the budget that you would have to be dealing with right from jump.
So basically, in that instance, then, because what you seem to be saying is there's a lot of people thinking about running for mayor who, if these tax renewals go down to defeat, they might not run. Is that what
they might not run because they might not want to deal with what could become layoffs.
Then basically,
who wants to be the mayor and then all of a sudden, we got to lay people off?
Then basically, Ollie should in fact be against them.
No, she wants them to pass.
Well, then she wants more competition. You see my logic?
She doesn't care about the competition, I don't think. I mean, she's not too concerned about that.
I mean,
She
let me
hadn't done
ask
a
you,
whole
if
lot.
you were running for mayor and you knew that if these tax measures failed, you might be the only one, you would run unopposed.
No, nobody is going to tell you. Nobody that's running for mayor is going to tell you they want these to be defeated. I'd be shocked
Yeah.
if someone said,
But on the
"I
other
want these
hand,
defeated."
some may not run if they are in fact defeated.
Some may not. Some may decide this is too big of a financial hurdle for me to have to deal with right out of the gate.
So the point being, if I were going to be a candidate and I knew I would have fewer competitors in the election, then the back of my head would be, wow, these fail. Instead of running against like 5 people, I might be running against 1.
Yeah, but that's not what they're thinking. They all want them to pass. They don't. None of them. Nobody wants to deal with having to lose, $11 million from your budget.
And yet, Scott Hughes, Shreveport faces, and not without great reason, what he calls, what was it, the sentiment? Remember what he said? The sentiment of no, i.e., I'm a taxpayer. What am I getting for my money? Look around. Are you the person who wants this renewed? Are you the one that I want to give my money to? And the point Mr. Scott made was, in many instances, people may, not only in Shreveport and or Bossier or Louisiana, but across the country, this sentiment of no when it comes to taxes, i.e., I don't think you're doing a very good job with my money.
Right.
And as a result, I'm not going to give you my money because not because I don't think I should pay for things like roads or schools or fill in the blank. I just don't think you, whoever in this case you may happen to be, I just don't think you are the one I want with your hands on the purse strings. 29 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel, State Senator John Milkovich in less than 10 minutes. Right now, traffic time. Just ahead of Erin's local news, here's Ruben.
Looks like everything's running nice and smooth for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on North Hearn Avenue near Ford Street. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Clouds and sun today. Breezy and warm in the afternoon with a high of 80. Rather cloudy, breezy and mild. Low 63 for tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
A bill requiring the motto, "In God We Trust," to be on display in public schools across Louisiana has been okayed by the Senate Education Committee. Baton Rouge Senator Regina Barrow is pushing the bill. She says our children are suffering from a lack of proper values. The proposed law mirrors measures in other southern states to bring the motto back to the walls of our schools. The Education Committee also discussed a measure that would give teachers more authority to intervene in a fight between students. Shreveport Senator John Milkovich proposed the measure, and he responded to questions about just how much force the teachers could impose.
That the level of force is reasonably proportional to the threat that's posed, that's existing at the time.
The bill died in committee. The battle over the Confederate monument heats back up. Ahead of a June court date, the Daughters of the Confederacy have asked a judge to depose 4 of the 7 commissioners who voted to move the monument from the courthouse grounds. The 4 commissioners in question, Lyndon Johnson, Stephen Jackson, Matthew Lynn, and Stormy Gage Watts, are fighting that request, unsure of why they are being singled out or why the public minutes from the meeting aren't enough. Another student in hot water for making threats. Matt Parker with that.
A Sabine Parish 7th grader has been arrested for making terroristic threats against Ebarb High School. According to the Sabine Parish Sheriff's Office, this is the 8th student in 6 weeks to be arrested for making threats against schools in the parish. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Ville Platte Senator Eric LaFleur has filed a bill that would allow 19 and 20-year-olds to buy alcohol by themselves if they pass a drinking responsibility class and have their parents' consent. The drinking age in most Western countries is 18 to 19, and the Ville Platte Democrat says you don't hear nearly as many stories about binge drinking sessions from those countries as you do from the U.S. He says kids are going to be kids no matter what the law says.
I don't know why we think our 19-year-olds are different than the 19-year-olds from Canada or from any European country or anywhere else.
The adult film star who says she had an affair with President Trump will be in town this weekend. Stormy Daniels will make appearances at Larry Flint's Hustler Club tonight and tomorrow. A record 965 million airline passengers flew in the U.S. last year. It's a 3.4% increase over 2016. 2 weeks in, and LSU is no closer to finding a starting quarterback than when spring practice started, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Tight end Foster Moreau says the 3 quarterbacks in contention all bring something different to the table.
Justin can throw the ball. He's got a cannon, but he could also scramble a little bit. Miles has a really sharp eye, and Noel's got a beautiful touch on the ball. Really, he's got really pretty touch on like a outside shoulder 9 route.
Moreau says despite the intense competition, the 3 are all getting along well, and spirits are high at practice. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Twenty-three past, wait a second, 23 till 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, Robert and Erin. Matt just made the point, and he's right. He's 100% right.
Mm-hmm.
John Bell says, if, what is it, Pyramid? Peninsula Gaming, something like that. If they want to move Diamond Jacks down south, he's for it.
Why?
Well, he just is. I mean, I'm not against it. It's their company. Why would I be? I mean, on principle, I wish they would stay. But on principle, it's their company. They get to do with it whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they're not making money here, why would I want to mandate that they stay here and lose money? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, Matt just said, Talk about an eyesore.
Yeah, it's just going to be a huge building that there's not a whole lot of options for.
You've got a building with the restaurants, blah, blah, blah. I mean, the boat would be gone. They'd tote the boat away.
Right.
Not that they're going to put it down south on the Tangipahoa River.
Oh, boy.
But, I mean, you're going to have an empty building, an empty hotel, and an empty parking garage. I have no idea. I've never stayed there. I don't know how many rooms are at that hotel at the Diamond Jacks. I would figure 150, 200 maybe. I have no idea. But it would be empty.
Speaking of no idea, what happens when they take the boat away? Does it just like rip the back end of the building out? How does that work?
In sections.
They're never going to leave the boat. They're never going to bring the boat down south.
No.
If you think that boat's ever going to leave.
They will disassemble the boat. They will not.
Well, they'll just leave it.
No, they won't. No.
Why? They don't have to disassemble. Just leave it.
Just leave
Somebody will make a wedding venue out of it or something.
Just leave the boat. No, they won't.
Let's make it the Robert and Erin studio.
You tell me.
On the river. That'd be awesome.
It would be awesome. You tell me, what is if no other gaming company takes over that property, what are you going to do with that building, with that hotel, and that parking garage?
Buh.
Hello, Bossier City. Are you attempting? That would be interesting.
Maybe it's big enough for Elio.
Who in Bossier City could tell us right now? Are you giving up the ghost? Are you assuming they're gone? Because, you know, are you working to keep them here?
I'll work on that. I'll work on that now.
But assuming for the moment, look, they're not applying to leave because they want to stay. They're not applying to leave. In other words, you don't file for divorce papers with somebody you want to stay married to. True. You don't say, well, you know, let's go to counseling, but just in case I've filed for divorce. That's not how that works. They're not having hearings so they can stay. They don't want the Tangipahoa River to be declared navigable so that they can stay.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering who in Bossier is working on what to do with that property.
Good question.
Is there anybody lining up to? Is there another gaming company? Maybe we don't need.
We don't have another license. We don't have it. We only get 15 licenses. This one moved. This one down there. There's not room for another license.
So another case, another instance where we've just limited ourselves, where we damage ourselves by limiting ourselves. I have an idea. Let's move them off of the river and put them 1,200 feet onto land.
Yeah.
Where there's no space.
Oh, boy.
639, it's 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, headed to break. Senator John Milkovich, state guy, is up next. Lots to talk about. In the meantime, traffic time and Ruben.
Looks like everything's running nice and smooth for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on North Hearn Avenue near Ford Street. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning out breezy and warm today with intervals of clouds and sunshine, high about 80. Breezy and mild with clouds and a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Maybe Trump joined real. Answer your call and work to fit you.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 642. State Senator John Milkovich is here. Hey, Mr. John, how are you?
Hey, Robert and Erin, how are y'all?
So there's three bills. Well, you can kind of update us. Erin gave an update a little while ago, says one of them is either that doesn't have much of a chance or has already been shot down. But let's start with Teachers' Bill of Rights. Did I see that right? What is a Teacher's Bill of Rights? Are you for it? Where does it stand?
It's his bill.
Why do they need one?
Absolutely they do. Louisiana has some of the best teachers in America. And they're not only fighting John White and the education bureaucracy and Common Core, which, by the way, comes from UNESCO, the United Nations, and World Core. Robert, this gets back to a discussion we had months ago. He said, you're fighting about John White. Isn't that politics? And I said, principles. The teachers are fighting a World Core curriculum. Do research for 20 seconds on the Internet. It's called World Core. Came from the United Nations. Bill Gates put a bunch of money in it. And what is World Core? It's anti-God. Let's teach kids that we evolved from primordial slime, in so many words. Let's preach communism and socialism. Let's remove faith in God, and let's replace family with government. And let's go ahead and promote abortion. So that's one thing Louisiana teachers get to deal with every day.
Your Teacher's Bill of Rights is going to fix this?
Oh, wait, I'm just getting started. So not only do our teachers have to deal with this nonsense that's coming from the United Nations, Washington, and Baton Rouge bureaucracy, they've also got to deal with dangerous classrooms. Teachers' Bill of Rights says this: and teachers can go ahead and use reasonable physical force to restrain a student that wants to be a gangster, wants to be a bully, wants to be a wannabe terrorist. A teacher can use reasonable force to restrain them, to protect himself, to protect others. A teacher can remove a dangerous student who's a physical threat to others. A teacher can call the police and say, remove this kid, he's dangerous, he's a threat to me. A teacher can ask for security in the classroom and say, we need safety. And we're going a step further. We're saying it's high time that we stand behind teachers that are trying to instill discipline, respect, and values in our classroom.
But your bill was shot down, John. They said no, that they didn't want to give teachers added force in the classroom.
Well, they're wrong.
Is it dead for this session?
Well, it may be. There's another bill that we have, school safety, that protects the same principles, and that is basically saying it's time for us to trust our teachers. It's time for us to stop a small minority kids that want to be gangsters from terrorizing schools, disrupting classrooms, bullying. Listen, in 2017, Louisiana ranked 51st, and I'm saying, John, how's your math and your civics? There's only 50 states. No, I was right, 51st. In 2017, we ranked 51st in school safety. Louisiana did, because we were not only behind every other state in America, we were also behind the District of Columbia.
Now, you said trust a minute ago. Let's switch to that one, because that's a big one. In God we trust. Senator Barrow got your committee. I mean, you were chairing the committee yesterday, I guess, for part of the time.
For part of it.
She got her bill passed that would require public schools in Louisiana to post those words, "In God we trust," in every school. Nobody voted. Nobody can vote against God, but the courts are going to throw this out. John, are y'all wasting our time?
Absolutely not. This education, Abraham Lincoln said this, Erin. He said the educational philosophy of one generation, or the philosophy of the classroom in one generation, that's the philosophy of the government in the next. That's exactly our problem, is that we've tried to take God out of the schools, out of education, out of the public square, out of public life, out of government. We need God right back in the middle of everything that we do. This nation was found on a belief in God. We haven't been perfect. We've made plenty of mistakes along the way. I'll tell you one thing we're not wrong about. Faith in Jesus Christ is our hope. It's not the Republican Party. It's not the Democratic Party. It's not these phony reforms we get every 20 minutes. We got to get back to Bible basics. So I'm totally for the "In God We Trust." Now, to get to your question, you say, well, will some federal judge try to strike it down? you know what? I say bring it on. I think we need to take on these issues and stop trying to shrink back from fights. Sometimes there's some parking lot fights that you need to get into, and I think we need to send a message to other states, to the people of our state, and to the federal courts. We're going to fight for what's right. We're going to stand on the principles that got us where we are. We're going to stand on faith, family, and freedom. And this philosophy, Erin, of, well, some federal judge may strike it down in the future. You know what? I'm not paid to be a federal judge. I'm paid to be a Louisiana legislator. And I don't think we should refrain from doing the right thing today, stand up for faith, family, and freedom, because some federal judge may do the wrong thing tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Your other bill would allow teachers to pray with students. That got out of committee, huh?
It did. Praise God. I'm happy for it. And, you know, there's an attack on our faith, and it seems like some of the politicians are saying, well, we need to back off. We need to follow the rules. You know what? I think we need to get back to the Bible. And if that means some interesting conversations with the federal courts and with the liberal elements that want to take faith out of our society, out of our schools, out of our government, well, let's bring it on. Because what we have been doing, and it's a mistake, I believe, is we've been abandoning the battlefield to the enemy. I wish I had come up with that. That's what one of our founding fathers said over a couple of centuries ago. I think we need to get back on the battleground. I think we need to get back in these fights over faith, family, and values, these collisions and clashes over culture. That's what's going to determine our future. And our kids are going to look back and say, well, did you fight or did you fold?
Senator John Milkovich, I can't thank you enough for your time this morning. And I know you got another busy day today. Thank you, sir.
Hey, good to talk to y'all. Y'all have a great day.
You bet.
Good morning, 649, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Here comes your AccuWeather.com forecast. Another fine day today and even warmer for the weekend. Partly sunny today, high later today going to be in the middle to upper 70s and 80 for Saturday and Sunday. Right now, 51 at KEEL, 650, your money now.
Of, well, some federal judge may strike it down in the future. You know what? And this philosophy, we're going to stand on the principles that got us where we are. We're
like a snowball, I just rolling down the hill out of control. 6:55, it's 101.7 FM and 710. Keel, you're jotting something down over there, and it frightens me.
I'm just writing the guests because they got lost in my head.
Okay.
Got a busy day.
I know what we're going to talk about with Mr. Daniel Nobles from Andrew Jones is the Braves outfielder. Edward Jones is the investment company.
Jones, yeah.
I tell the kids around here, you tell the kids around here, that if you save $50 a week for 20 years, compounded, obviously, you'll be a millionaire.
I tell them even less than that, 25 a week. And by the time you're 40, 45, 50 years old, you're done. You're set. I try to drill it into them. I mean, I started late, and I'm going to be comfortable with in my retirement, my glowing years.
You look uncomfortable now, despite the 4 pillows that are in your chair and the displaced hip.
Yeah,
That's
another story.
Got to go. Here's Rush coming up on Keel.
Could be the most amusing race to watch this election cycle. Actress Cynthia Nixon from Sex in the City is taking on New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. It is a case of lefty versus leftier. Now, at her first campaign stop in Brooklyn, she unleashed on Cuomo, who we call here affectionately the son of Mario the Pious. The New York Times says that she questioned whether Cuomo is a real Democrat. She said that Cuomo is beholden to corporate donors. She linked him to the corruption of New York politics. She hit him for presiding over a state divided into haves and have-nots. In her words, the single most unequal state in the country. Now, after likening Cuomo to President Trump for slashing taxes on corporations and the super rich, Cynthia Nixon outlined her 3-point platform. She is going to fix the very segregated New York school system. She is going to solve inequality. And she is going to make the subway trains run on time. A Cuomo surrogate hit back. Former city councilwoman Christine Quinn called Cynthia Nixon an unqualified lesbian. After a firestorm, Quinn apologized, said she's just a lesbian. Ms. Nixon did pick up a heavyweight endorsement, though. Rosie O'Donnell is all in, and that's going to count for something. Whenever Rosie sits in on something, it's big. But think about this. Will Governor Cuomo's brother, Fredo, interview Ms. Nixon on CNN? Maybe even betray the family and support her? Like I said, this is going to be fun to watch.
This is Mike. During the week, Mike sits behind a desk. Oh, Mike, did you get a paper cut? Boo-hoo. But on the weekends, Mike becomes a manscaper. Listen to his lawnmower roar.
Cut.
Mike forgot to use mechanic in a bottle.
Dude.
This spring, if your lawn equipment doesn't start right up, treat your fuel system with Mechanic in a Bottle. Available at the Home Depot, Tractor Supply, and Walmart. Or visit mechanicinaBottle.com. Trusted by engine and equipment manufacturers everywhere.
Every business needs great people, and the better way to find them. Something better than posting your job online and just praying for the right people to see it. ZipRecruiter revolutionized hiring. Their technology finds great candidates for you. No wonder 80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. Goodbye post and pray. Hello ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Try it for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Looks like everything's running nice and smooth for your early morning drive to work or school, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on North Hearn Avenue near Ford Street. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning out breezy and warm today with intervals of clouds and sunshine, high about 80, breezy and mild with clouds and a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport. The KEEL Morning.
Three past 7 o'clock. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Down yonder, Miss Erin has local news. It's coming up next.
The battle over the Confederate monument is heating back up. We'll talk about that. Should "In God We Trust" be on the walls at every school in Louisiana? That's coming up, too. And Stormy Daniels, she's storming into town today.
Lisa Cooper is a speaker and writer and lecturer, and we're going to talk to her in a couple of seconds about the, let's say, over-sexualization of teens, specifically teen girl culture.
Oh, boy.
Senator John Kennedy joins us in about 30 or 35 minutes.
What did he say about this budget is whizzing down our leg?
A Great Dane-size whiz down the leg of every taxpayer.
That's a quote?
Well, it is National Puppy Day.
Oh, boy.
Plus Fletcher and sports and traffic and weather, and it's all coming up this hour, and it's right here on KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Another student in hot water for making threats. A Sabine Parish 7th grader arrested for making terroristic threats against Ebarb High School. According to Sabine Parish deputies, this is the 8th student in 6 weeks to be arrested for making threats against schools in the parish. The battle over the Confederate monument heats back up. Ahead of their June court date, the Daughters of the Confederacy have asked a judge to depose 4 of the 7 commissioners who voted to move the monument from the courthouse grounds. The 4 commissioners in question, Johnson, Jackson, Lynn, and Stormy Gage Watts, are fighting the request, unsure of why they are being singled out. Judges' request for more funds ignored by the Caddo Commission for now. Matt Parker with that.
Starting on July 1st, 17-year-old offenders in our state will be moved from the adult system and sent to juvenile detention centers. Judge Paul Young says that's going to be a major problem in Caddo Parish. Young appeared before the Caddo Commission Thursday to request funds to expand the Caddo facility and to hire additional staff, while Commission President Doug Dominic said he wants to work with Young to find a solution. The commission dismissed Young without making any decisions or giving any answers. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
A bill requiring the motto, "In God We Trust," to be put on display in public schools across Louisiana has been okayed by the Senate Education Committee. Baton Rouge Senator Regina Barrow is pushing the measure. She says our children are suffering from a lack of proper values. The proposed law mirrors measures in other southern states to bring the motto back to the walls of our schools. Bill Platt, Senator Eric LaFleur's filed a bill that would let 19 and 20-year-olds buy alcohol by themselves if they pass a drinking responsibility class and have their parents' consent. LaFleur says current law allows underage adults to consume alcohol if they're with a legal guardian. He says his bill is just an obvious extension of that same idea.
It's an extension of existing law in the sense that it requires parental consent, but the parents can give them that consent without having to be there.
The senator says his bill would be a good first step to changing a drinking culture that can destroy young people's lives. It could receive a hearing next week. The adult film star who says she had an affair with President Trump will be in town this weekend. Stormy Daniels is making appearances at Larry Flint's Hustler Club tonight and tomorrow. Lawmakers have averted another government shutdown after Congress approved a giant $1.3 trillion spending bill that would end the budget battles, at least for now. Saints and Pelicans owner Tom Benson will be laid to rest today. The 90-year-old died last week from flu complications. Saints Administrative Director Jay Romig says today will be a celebration of a man who was committed to the community and was proud to be part of it.
He probably wouldn't want all the attention. He probably would say, well, I should get back to work. If I knew him, I think he'd be humbled and he'd be very excited for what we're doing.
Drew Brees, Anthony Davis, and Coach Sean Payton will serve as honorary pallbearers. A judge in North Carolina has ordered a mother accused of helping her 1-year-old daughter smoke marijuana not to have contact with the girl while a case is pending. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
for more info.
9 past 7 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 Keel traffic update. Friday morning stuff. Here's Ruben.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic at the intersection of North Spring Street and East Stoner Avenue. And we have some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near Hamilton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning out breezy and warm today with intervals of clouds and sunshine, high about 80. Breezy and mild with clouds and a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Good morning. It's 11 past 7 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Don't forget about the Keel app, a free download. Sounds awesome. Presented by Office Furniture Source. Lisa Cooper is a speaker and a writer and a lecturer and a blogger and a regular on Catholic Answers Radio. And we'll kind of get to the specific reason we wanted you to come in today in just a couple of seconds. But first of all, I know you do a series of lectures that are called Mosaic.
Yes.
Tell us about that to start off, because that's what will lead in to the topic we wanted to cover.
Well, Mosaic was something that I put together because I felt like girls in particular are getting the wrong message about who they are. And I think what happens is that girls are taught that their sexuality is the center of who they are. And you have two people kind of fighting over that sexuality, if you will. So you've got the world of secular culture that says your power lies in how you give your sexuality away. It's your body. You should do what you want. Have as much sex as you want or as little sex as you want, but just understand that your power lies in how you choose to give it away. And although this is not what the church teaches, I think what a lot of girls are hearing from their churches is God and boys like you better if you don't have sex. And again, it's still very male-centered. It's still very, the sum total of who you are is in your sexuality and what you do with it.
And what boys think about you.
Right, exactly.
That's wrong. We just this week, Lisa, 5 more teenagers, 3 14-year-old girls and a 15-year-old girl, but have been arrested, along with a 16-year-old boy, for sexting nude photos.
Yeah.
I just... we're from a different generation. This would have never occurred to me. Obviously, we didn't have cell phones, but they don't think anything's wrong with it. That's where I struggle.
Yeah.
And is that true?
To some degree, yes. I mean, I think there's something inherent in every girl that has that moment of hesitation before she sends it. But think about, if you want to look at it in context of the Me Too movement, which I think is a valid and important movement. But when you look at men like Harvey Weinstein, yes, his power lies in the fact that he makes important decisions that determine people's careers. But he was able to take advantage of people because every woman that he took advantage of knew, if I don't, there's another one sitting right out there on the couch who will. And when you think in terms of a woman's desire to be picked, and that is an inherent desire in every woman, and the degree to which she will act on that desire comes from her own self-worth.
How do we change that? What do we do? Do we start when they're toddlers, I guess?
Well, I think what happens right now, we're trying to go at it from an external perspective, and that's just not the answer. I think parents are trying to outrun their kids in the sense that if I have enough apps and if I'm fully aware of what they're doing, I can nip this in the bud. And I think there's no way that's going to happen.
Kids will always be ahead of you, Mom and Dad.
They will.
Always.
There's so many pieces of technology that are going to help you as a child completely hide anything you want to from your parent. And I think we're also wrongly thinking that these girls maybe don't have a good relationship with their dads but the truth is these girls don't have a real sense of who they are. And they don't have a real sense of who men are and what men really want, because nobody is teaching this to them. So what they're being taught is, this is wrong, this is bad, you shouldn't do this, you can get in trouble. Instead of saying, you know what, let me tell you who you are. And when you have a real sense as a woman, as a girl, of who you are and what your real worth is, you're not going to go give it away.
Let me ask you this, Lisa. And I'm sorry, Robert, I'm dominating, but I love this topic.
Girl talk is great.
We talk about this all from the girl perspective. The boys are doing something wrong too.
They are. But and of course I'm coming at it from a Catholic perspective, which I love Fulton Sheen, who says the mark of any society is always going to be the level of its women. And boys are doing things that they shouldn't be doing. They shouldn't be asking for these photos. They shouldn't be passing these photos along.
These pictures, yeah.
But the fact remains, and I don't mean to say, girls, this is all your fault. I don't mean it in that hard at all. But if a girl says no, there's nothing to circulate. There's nothing to be had.
There's no picture that will be made.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so when a girl begins to see, this is who I am, and I'm not going to just give this away. I'm not some coin that you picked up off the street. I'm somebody that you fight for.
But the girls of today, Lisa, they think this is just like me kissing a boy when I was 15. Mm-hmm. This is the equivalent of me kissing a boy when I was 15.
Yeah.
It's sending him a nudie pic.
Oddly enough, and I don't mean to be crass, especially at 7 o'clock in the morning, but most girls who participate in overtly sexual activity will perform oral sex before they'll give someone a kiss.
Oh, my.
Because kissing to them is intimate. Kissing to them is a sense of, we have some sort of relationship. But the other is something that a lot of girls feel like this is just expected of me.
That's part of what I do.
Mm-hmm. And part of that is, a large part of that is, like Robert was saying, we do live in this overly sexualized culture. The name of the mascara I use is called Better Than Sex. And when I opened it last night, the top of it says, was it good for you? And I think this is insane.
Wow. We might have to take a break, but think about this question. What makes the girl who says yes to that picture and the girl who says no, what makes them different? What's different about those two girls?
Well, it has to do with how they see themselves. And that is something that they have to be taught.
That was my point. It has to do with how they were parented, so parents play a huge role.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Harvard did this huge study on the hookup culture, and they looked at all these different factors and what can contribute to someone participating in the hookup culture and someone saying, I'm out of this race, I'm not doing this. And the single most effective factor that Harvard found is parents who talk to their kids about their sexuality, about how to find trusting and real relationships, about how to behave in relationships, just the simple logistics You know, Erin, we spend so much money on making sure that our children are prepared to take the ACT. I mean, we spend time and money and we leave no stone unturned. We find the best of the best of the best. But we spend so little time teaching them how to be healthy, functioning adults outside of you need to go to college.
Sure. You need to just go to school, do your homework, all that stuff.
Right.
Can we, when we come back, can I ask you some questions as if I'm your 5-year-old daughter?
Sure.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Can we do role playing? Is that okay, Robert?
If you want to play like a 5-year-old, you go right. Who would
I do it most days.
Who would I be to deny you that fantasy? More with Lisa Cooper on the way. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel traffic time right now. Here's Ruben.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic at the intersection of North Spring Street and East Stoner Avenue, and we have some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near Hamilton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning out breezy and warm today with intervals of clouds and sunshine, high about 80. Breezy and mild with clouds and a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.101.7 FM, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Fletcher, Sports Time.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Cinderella is alive and well in the NCAA tournament. 3 underdogs won Sweet 16 matchups, including 9th-seeded Kansas State knocking off SEC powerhouse Kentucky 61-58. The Big 12's Wildcats will face the darlings of the Big Dance, 11th-seeded Loyola of Chicago, who slipped past Nevada 69-68. Gonzaga, last year's national runner-up, fell to 9th-seeded Florida State 75-60. The Seminoles will face the only favorite to survive Thursday's Sweet 16 surprises. That's Michigan. The Wolverines wore out Texas A&M 99-72. This will be the first Elite Eight with more than one 9 seed still hanging around. The Pelicans are tied for the 4th spot in the Western Conference playoffs after rallying to beat the Lakers 128-125. New Orleans came back from an 11-point fourth-quarter deficit with Anthony Davis paving the way with 33 points. Rajon Rondo added 24 points and 10 assists. This was the Pels' 5th game in 6 nights and their 3rd in 3 nights at home. And the Mudbugs host Corpus Christi tonight. A win at Georges Pond and Hirsch Coliseum or a Lone Star loss to Amarillo will give the Bugs their first division title in NAHL play. Game time, 7:11 p.m. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
1017 FM and 710 Keel, Robert and Erin. Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. Lisa Cooper is here, speaker and writer and lecturer and blogger and a regular on Catholic Answers Radio. And we're talking about the sexualization primarily. You had the story yesterday about the teens, specifically the girls, texting naked photos at 14, 15-year-old kids.
Yes.
Sending naked photos to quote-unquote boyfriends, as much of a boyfriend as you can have at the age of 14 or 15.
They don't know that. They think it's forever.
And thinking, I know, and thinking no one else but my beloved 14-year-old boyfriend will ever see this photo.
And then it gets spread across the school, and then this child's devastated, and now
the kid,
these folks have been arrested.
And the kid who spreads the photo is guilty of trafficking in child porn,
You bet.
no matter the age. When you give your speeches, when you give your talks, your lectures to teen girls, what is the overriding point of that, in the sense that, and you talked about in the last segment about there's this pressure to act in this way because A, you said there's always another girl who will do that, and B, that kind of activity is just like the coolest, newest pair of sneakers. It's just something you got to do, or in this case, got to have.
Well, I mean, I think when you look at the statistics, you've got about 70% of teens who will say, I was involved in sexting in some way.
70%.
70%. 22% of teenage girls admit to having sent a nude photo of someone.
That's probably low.
I think what happens is because this is so shocking to people in our generation, we think that this is happening more than it is.
Okay.
I mean, I think those statistics are probably pretty true to form. But what happens is that the girls who are participating in this, like Robert was saying, they think this is just this small thing and just one person is going to see it, and they have no idea that this is going to ruin them for a long, long time.
Now, the people that are listening to you today are not these teenagers. These are the parents of these teenagers. So I want you to give them some advice. And so the best thing I can do is pretend to be a 4 or 5-year-old.
Okay.
And I'm going to come to you. You're going to be my mom, okay? And I'm going to tell you what happened. And you give me some tips on how a parent should answer or address it.
All right.
Mommy.
Okay,
This is going to sound a little freaky. I know.
You can skip the voice.
Okay, can I? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm giving you a pass on the voice.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Mommy. Is that better?
Yeah.
That sounds more like it.
Erin likes a good cohiba.
Jimmy wants to play doctor. I was at his house, and he wanted to go in the backyard, and he said we could play this new game, Doctor.
Yeah.
I know
Excuse
for this
me,
generation, there's a
pardon
different
me just a
term
second.
for it, probably.
Is my first reaction to that is, whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
Is sexuality at 5? Is that?
It's a curiosity. I don't think it's overtly sexual.
Right.
It's, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Because it's this sense of, wow, you're not made like me.
And that happened to me literally when I was 5.
Yeah.
And I talked to my mom about it, and it didn't go any further. But I'm curious as to what a parent should do if they notice or their child says something like that, that this may be starting. What's the appropriate answer to that child?
Well, the thing that I told my children growing up, and the thing that I advocate, is start talking to them very young. When you start teaching them what all of their parts are, and I do think it's wise to teach them the correct anatomical names for their parts and not make up all these names.
Right.
Because believe it or not, made up names can create a sense of shame about talking about it for what it really is. But as you begin to teach them, and when you teach them how to care for all of that, when you're giving them a bath and all of that, and teach them the autonomy of that this belongs to you, that this is not something that other people are supposed to see, because it not only prevents them or helps them when it's you and Jimmy in the backyard playing doctor, but also adults who, for them to understand no one is allowed to touch you there. No one is allowed to see that.
And if someone approaches you, you need to come to me, because kids
Right.
are often told by molesters, don't say anything.
Yeah.
So they need to know it's okay to talk to mom and dad about it.
Exactly. Yeah. And just say, someone may tell you that this is a bad thing that you've done if somebody touches you or sees you in that way, and they'll tell, or they may threaten and say that they'll do bad things to mommy and daddy if you come and tell us, but that's a lie. And you need to know that you're safe with me. And they need to know that they're safe with you. You cannot speak to your children using language of shame. You have to be open. And if a child comes to you and says, Jimmy wanted me to play doctor, you can't freak out and say, you're never going to Jimmy's house again.
Great. That's good advice. And they need to know to come to mom and dad. So many times kids are afraid.
Yeah.
Lisa Cooper, a speaker in some demand. If somebody wants to know more about you coming to talk to their group, their organization, their teenage, I know that you've talked to a lot of teenage girl groups.
Yeah, we do. I do a talk that's just for teenage girls. I do another one that's just for college girls because the hookup culture is a lot more prevalent, obviously, on college campuses. I do one just for women. And then I actually do one for men called Mosaic Champion, and it's about raising daughters and all the things that you're doing right and all the things that you think you're doing right and you're totally missing the boat.
How would one get in touch?
We're completely revamping the Mosaic website right now, so you have to reach me through my blog, which is pickinguppennies.com. But there's a speaking section there, and you can email me if you want to talk to me about that.
Pickinguppennies.com. Awesome job. Thank you as always.
Speaking of pennies, Daniel Nobles is going to join us in just a couple of minutes. How if you just save a few pennies every week, you could be a millionaire. And Senator John Kennedy.
Yeah, going to talk some, never mind.
Whizzing down your leg.
Not my leg. 729, 1017 FM. I'm sitting down. 21. Let's go to traffic.
The intersection at Lakeshore Drive and Hearn Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Barksdale Boulevard and Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning out breezy and warm today with intervals of clouds and sunshine, high about 80. Breezy and mild with clouds and a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
A bill requiring the motto, "In God We Trust," to be on display in public schools across Louisiana has been okayed by the Senate Education Committee. Baton Rouge Senator Regina Barrow is pushing the bill. She says our children are suffering from a lack of proper values. The proposed law mirrors measures in other southern states to bring the motto back to the walls of our schools. The Education Committee also discussed a measure that would give teachers more authority to intervene in a fight between students. Shreveport Senator John Milkovich proposed the measure, and he responded to questions about just how much force the teachers could impose.
That the level of force is reasonably proportional to the threat that's posed, that's existing at the time.
The bill died in committee. The battle over the Confederate monument heats back up. Ahead of a June court date, the Daughters of the Confederacy have asked a judge to depose 4 of the 7 commissioners who voted to move the monument from the courthouse grounds. The 4 commissioners in question, Lyndon Johnson, Stephen Jackson, Matthew Lynn, and Stormy Gage Watts, are fighting that request, unsure of why they are being singled out or why the public minutes from the meeting aren't enough. Another student in hot water for making threats. Matt Parker with that.
A Sabine Parish 7th grader has been arrested for making terroristic threats against Ebarb High School. According to the Sabine Parish Sheriff's Office, this is the 8th student in 6 weeks to be arrested for making threats against schools in the parish. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Ville Platte Senator Eric LaFleur filed a bill that would allow 19 and 20-year-olds to buy alcohol by themselves if they pass a drinking responsibility class and have their parents consent. Now, the drinking age in most Western countries is 18 to 19, and the Ville Platte Democrat says you don't hear nearly as many stories about binge drinking sessions from those countries as you do from the U.S. He says kids are going to be kids no matter what the law says.
I don't know why we think our 19-year-olds are different than the 19-year-olds from Canada or from any European country or anywhere else.
The adult film star who says she had an affair with President Trump will be in town this weekend. Stormy Daniels will make appearances at Larry Flint's Hustler Club tonight and tomorrow. A record 965 million airline passengers flew in the U.S. last year. It's a 3.4% increase over 2016. 2 weeks in, and LSU is no closer to finding a starting quarterback than when spring practice started, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Tight end Foster Moreau says the 3 quarterbacks in contention all bring something different to the table.
Justin can throw the ball. He's got a cannon, but he could also scramble a little bit. Miles has a really sharp eye, and Noel's got a beautiful touch on the ball. Really, he's got really pretty touch on like a outside shoulder 9 route.
Moreau says despite the intense competition, the 3 are all getting along well and spirits are high at practice. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Hey, this Spartan Ground with Office.
One 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. It is 7:39. Live from the nation's capital, where he was up until, wow, Senator John Kennedy is here. Mr. John, have you even been to bed yet? And if you have you gotten more than like 90 minutes to 2 hours shut-eye? How are you this morning other than tired?
I'm okay. We finished. Wasn't as late as I thought it would be. I think we got wrapped at about 2 o'clock, so I got a few hours sleep. And,
1.3, a $1.3 trillion omnibus budget bill that only it covers another, what, 6 months of government spending or so. And this is, I'm not going to quote you the story, the Great Dane quote, which, by the way, was awesome, especially for this National Puppy Day. But you thought this was an awful budget from the get-go. Tell us why.
Well, unless I get you thrown off the radio, I'll quote it. I said it's a Great Dane-sized whiz down the leg of every taxpayer in America, and I meant it.
Yes, you did.
It's horrible. It's adding they don't even know yet, but I know for a fact it's going to add at least $1 trillion to the debt. They wouldn't let us debate the bill. They wouldn't let us offer amendments to the bill. For example, the bill includes more money for our military.
Excuse me, pardon me, John. When you say they, you mean Republican leaders, McConnell et al., would not let you, the members of the Senate, discuss the contents of this bill.
And the Democratic leaders. The running the show here were Senator McConnell, Speaker Ryan, former Speaker Pelosi, and Senator Chuck Schumer from New York, which is why the president didn't get his wall, but Chuck Schumer got a really swell tunnel.
Who's caving here and why?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I wish I did. That's why I voted no and raised all manner of Hades, because we weren't allowed to amend the bill. I'm fully supportive of extra money for the military, but what I went to them and said, why is my choice only to get the money for the military by borrowing it from China? Why can't you open up the bill for amendments? And if you think there's no waste in the federal budget, then you're like a rock, only dumber. I mean, at least give us a try. Don't just borrow the money. Let us try to find it within the budget.
I've got to be suspicious when Chuck Schumer. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just going to say, that upset the Republican leadership. That upset the Democratic leadership. And so I said, okay, I just work here, but I got the same vote y'all got, and mine's no. And there was at one point I thought we had a chance to kill it, and I also thought we had a chance to get the president to veto it. But I think the president, I heard early this morning.
That was my next question. Is that, yes, I heard the same thing, that the president says he will sign the bill. Now, it's been said by a lot of folks that only Donald Trump can tear down the bridge, the connection that he has with his supporters. But his conservative supporters are going to look at this bill and go, how can you sign that? Do you think the president will damage his, not reputation, connection with his voters if he signs this?
I don't know. I'm sure it's something. I mean, the president's a smart guy. I mean, I'm sure he'll sort it out in his mind and do what he thinks is best for America. My point to him would be, which was the point to my colleagues, that we can arrive at the same place without having to borrow so much money. And I had the option last night. Under the Senate rules, one senator can shut everything down. And Senator Paul, who spoke out with me, he almost did it but decided not to. I decided early on I'm not going to shut it down because I know the votes at the end, I knew that there were votes there to pass it. So why do I want to make people stay up 2 days and 2 nights when we're going to end up in the same place? And Rand determined the same thing, and sure enough, they passed it. They passed it with overwhelming Democratic support. I mean, the Democrats in the Senate are just like kids at Christmas. They love this bill like the devil loves sin, man. They just think this is the greatest bill they've ever seen because they like to spend money. And I'm not saying that everything in the bill is a bad expenditure. It's not. The military needs some money, but we could have done it in a better way other than just charging it to your credit card.
It's the largest pay raise for military in 10 years, 12 years, right?
Yeah, it's not nearly enough. It's about 2%. But they'll get that money. I guess they'll get it in dollars. They may get it in Chinese currency because that's where we're getting the money.
Or Russian money, maybe. Yeah.
Is this just an example of how what is called the deep state, the Democrats, the liberal Dems, Schumer, etc. And what bothers me more and more and more is that the Rhino Republicans, if you will, the McConnells or that they are the ones really in charge, governing against the will of the people.
Well, Robert, you make a good point, but I'm not going to blame this on the deep state. This is on us in Congress for letting it happen. Every member of Congress, House and Senate, has one vote. Nobody can vote twice. We've let it happen to us. And I want to thank Mike Johnson. He stood up like a road warrior in the House, and he is much more polite than I am. And he, in his firm but polite way, said, "No mas, count me out." And he voted no.
And yet, we're getting ready to do. We're going to do this all over again before the year's over, right?
Yeah. This just gets us through October. Now, and I'm going to vote no again if they don't go back to following the law. The law says these bills, they're actually supposed to be 12 budget bills, one for each area of government, and they're supposed to go through committee where we can debate them and amend them, and then they're supposed to come to the floor of the Senate where we can debate them and amend them further.
Mr. John,
if they don't let us do it again, I'm voting no again.
Pardon me for alluding to your previous Great Dane size whiz analogy.
You can say whiz. That's
but if thank you. If this is kind of like a big old Great Dane staking out his territory, hasn't the territory been staked, and didn't the establishment, both Democrats and Republicans, win?
Well, there are a lot of. I don't know about the House because I have enough of a challenge understanding the Senate, but I can tell you there are a lot of rank and file senators that are upset over this process. Some of them voted against the bill. Others didn't. I'm not going to criticize anybody. Everybody's vote is sacred. But, there are only a couple of Mikeys in the Senate. Remember the cereal commercial, Mikey, let him eat it first?
Mm-hmm.
I'm one of the Mikeys, and I spoke up immediately. And I'm going to keep speaking up, and it's ruffled a few feathers, but they either need to change the procedure or I'm just going to keep voting no.
What's in it for Louisiana? Can you give us some detail?
It's going to help our military. Yeah, it's going to help our military.
What about our roads, our I-49 projects, things like that?
There is some money in the bill for infrastructure, but it doesn't say who it goes to. And I feel reasonably certain that Senator Schumer will get a lion's share of it for his tunnel from New York to New Jersey. So we don't have a wall, but if you're in our country illegally and you're receiving sanctuary from Mayor de Blasio in New York, you'll have a swell tunnel to go through to the New Jersey shore. But we don't have a wall.
Senator John Kennedy, I can't thank you enough for your time this morning. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you get some rest this weekend.
I hold everybody in the Arctic.
Will do.
Get a Great Dane size nap, Mr. John. Thank you very much.
I'm good, man. I'm sleeping on the plane.
748, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL.
at Lakeshore Drive and Hearn Avenues, dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning out breezy and warm today with intervals of clouds and sunshine, high about 80. Breezy and mild with clouds and a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Get news, weather, traffic, right here. Breaking news and trending talk is on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
The best time to buy a new boat or RV.
203-0018.
203-0018.
Get debt free with
1017 FM and 710 Keel 754. Robert and Erin. Daniel Nobles is our guy from Edward Jones Invest. Hey, Mr. Daniel, how are you today?
Man, I'm great. How are y'all?
You know, Erin and I talk to the kids around here all the time, and we say something basically like, if you can figure out a way to save $50 a week for 20 years, basically you'll be a millionaire. And they look at us like we're crazy. Now, saving $50 a week ain't the easiest thing in the world for some people, but would you explain to everyone the importance, the value, and the inevitable financial independence of saving and saving now?
Absolutely. So time is going to be everyone's most valuable asset as far as saving for retirement or just saving if you're planning for any type of financial goal. There's all kind of really great financial folks out there putting on seminars that will talk about, save $50 a month, you could be a millionaire. Hey, the big takeaway for that is start now. If you're 40 years old and you feel like you're too far into it to get started, that's not the takeaway for all that. It's not too late. The most important thing is to start now.
How little can you start saving? I mean, if it's a tiny amount, it doesn't matter, right? Something.
Right. So it really doesn't matter. The biggest part of doing all this, I would say, would be creating good habits. So start with $25 a month. Every time you get a raise, take that extra little bit of your raise, put that towards it. Before you know it, you're doing $50, $100. You might be up to $1,000 a month before it's all said and done with. That adds up.
Over years, you will have a lot of money that I can come borrow from you, right?
Absolutely. And, hey, I will say this. As far as saving for retirement, the other thing that you need to do if you're a young family and you have children, or even if you're getting on up there in age, it's time to look at protecting your financial independence and that of your families. Specifically, do you have enough life and disability insurance? If you're older, long-term care is going to play a huge role in protecting your assets from the nursing home.
Daniel, how do folks get in touch with you if they want some advice or help?
I am about a mile from Louisiana Downs. I'm at the corner of Shedd and Stockwell Road. My phone number is 318-549-9155. Please give me a call, and we will set up a time to meet and discuss any financial goals that y'all have.
Daniel Nobles, thanks for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Great stuff, man. Thank you very much. 7:57. Here's Hannity on Keel.
Your morning espresso starts right here. It's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
All right, earlier this week, we learned yet another deep state leak meant to harm the president. Tuesday, the Washington Compost reports that President Trump congratulated Vladimir Putin for his re-election during a phone call to the Russian leader. Now, the paper reported that Trump's national security advisors specifically instructed him not to congratulate Putin. Well, just one little problem with the latest Trump-bashing narrative. Well, President Obama congratulated Putin on his re-election in 2012. And, of course, the mainstream destroyed Trump media, well, they're reporting with breathless hysteria this story, but they never commented on Barack Obama. Anyway, yet another example of fake, phony, fraudulent, abusively biased news.
The Sean Hannity Show from coast to coast later today.
Are you putting your retirement savings in a 401k, IRA, or investment account? Then I have one word of advice. Stop. Experts warn of a stock market crash any day now, and you could lose 50% or more of your hard-earned savings again. But you don't have to lose a penny. There's a better, safer way to save for retirement, and you can learn about it in a free report. This method continues to grow your money even when the market tumbles. To get this free report, go to bankonyourself.com. That's bankonyourself.com. Bankonyourself.com.
GoToMeeting is the collaborative meeting tool trusted by over 18 million monthly users. But how do we make the concept of 18 million more real for you? Well, if you wanted to travel 18 million miles, you could go to the moon and back 36 times and still have a few miles left over for a detour. $18 million could buy you 4.5 million non-fat iced lattes, which would keep you caffeinated from now until the end of your career. Or if you took 18 million standing desk breaks, well, you'd probably be in great shape. Visit GoToMeeting.com to learn why so many people trust us to help them get...
The intersection at Linwood Avenue and West 70th Street's dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Old Minden Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Here's your KEELAccuWeather.com forecast. Great today and great for the weekend. Partly sunny, high today near 80, low 80s all through the weekend. Right now, 53 at Keel. It is 8 o'clock.
News and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.
Good morning. It's 3 past 8. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Miss Erin down yonder. Local news is coming up next.
Another feud in the Confederate monument debate. We'll talk about that. Also coming up this morning, lawmakers in the Senate Education Committee had a busy day, and Stormy Daniels is arriving in town today.
John Paul Young for Shreveport mayor. Yep, I guess his hat is in the ring. I'm kind of looking at his page here.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest things he seems to be talking about are fracking and LGBT people. I'm sure there must be more to it than that.
Yeah, and Senator John Milkovich says we have to fight those liberal federal judges.
Fletcher in sports, traffic, and weather. It's all coming up this hour, and it's right here on Keel.
of information. KEEL News now.
The battle over the Confederate monument heating back up. Matt Parker with that.
Ahead of their June 25th court date, the Daughters of the Confederacy have asked the judge to depose 4 of the 7 commissioners who voted to move the Confederate monument from the Caddo Courthouse grounds. The 4 commissioners in question, Lyndon Johnson, Stephen Jackson, Matthew Lynn, and Stormy Gage Watts, are fighting the request, unsure of why they've been singled out or why the public minutes from the meeting aren't enough. The UDC is suing the commission, saying the commission violated the organization's constitutional rights by ordering the monument moved. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Judge's request for more funds ignored by the Caddo Commission for now. Starting July 1st, 17-year-old offenders will be moved from the adult system and sent to juvenile lockups. Judge Paul Young says that will be a major problem in Caddo. He appeared before the commission to request funds to expand the facility and to hire additional staff, while Commission President Doug Dominic said he wants to work with the judges to find a solution. The commission dismissed Young without making any decisions or giving any answers. Another student in hot water for making threats. A Sabine Parish 7th grader arrested for making terroristic threats against Ebarb High School. According to the Sabine Sheriff's Office, this is the 8th student in 6 weeks to be arrested for making threats against schools in Sabine. Things got hot in the Senate Education Committee. New Orleans Representative Joe Bowie was discussing a bill placing a moratorium on charter schools. He said charter schools' disciplinary problems are cruel and that many persons ages 16 to 24 are either out of work or not attending school. Metairie Senator Conrad Apple became highly offended.
You are so far off base with your racial comments, it's disgusting. This committee has spent year after year after year trying to help all the children of this state.
After calling for an audit of the charter schools, Senator Conrad Apple went on a tirade, telling Bowie he was trying to make this a racial issue.
You accused us of being racist.
I didn't accuse you.
Did.
What did I say? Did I call you a racist?
That man's recording it right there.
I said
man's
that
recording
90%.
it. You go back and watch it.
I said 90% of those students are African American. That's what I said.
The bill to place a moratorium on charter schools never came up for a vote. A bill filed to let 19 and 20-year-olds buy alcohol by themselves if they pass a drinking responsibility class and have their parents' consent. Bill Platt Senator Eric LaFleur says binge drinking by young adults is a dangerous trend that's made worse by laws that try and often fail to bar young people from getting their hands on booze.
19 and 20-year-olds currently drink right now, whether it's in a public space or in a private space. You certainly don't see people binge drinking in a bar or in a restaurant or any other kind of public setting like that.
35 future state police cadets will graduate as part of the 97th state police class today. Sergeant Jared Sandifer says the class was one of the smaller ones in recent memory. They started with 49, but it's still a very good success rate with 71%. Moving on.
That is a very good number. So that's going to be 35 more state troopers out there keeping the citizens of Louisiana safe.
Sandifer says another class is expected to begin later this year. The adult film star who says she had an affair with President Trump will be in town this weekend. Stormy Daniels making appearances at Larry Flint's Hustler Club tonight and tomorrow. Lawmakers avert another government shutdown after Congress approved a giant $1.3 trillion spending bill that would end the budget battles for now. And Alabama voters will face the choice of whether to allow the 10 Commandments to be displayed on state property, such as at schools, under a ballot proposal for the November election. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
10 past 8 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 Keel traffic update now. Here's Ruben.
Still keeping an eye on that heavy backed up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up past Benton Road right now. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast turning out breezy and warm today with intervals of clouds and sunshine, high about 80. Breezy and mild with clouds and a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
You got to turn your mic on.
12 past, they wouldn't have known if you hadn't said anything. 12 past 8 o'clock, 1017 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty standing by. Mr. John Paul Young, he is a candidate for mayor of Shreveport. Hey, Mr. John Paul, how are you today?
Can you hear us? You there?
Yo,
I can't hear it.
Yo, JP.
I can't hear
Are you,
it.
oh, there you are. Can you hear us okay now?
Hello?
Yeah, are you there? We hear you.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, hi.
There you are.
Thank you. I just had a little...
No, I'll just try the intro again. It'll be awesome. John Paul Young is candidate for mayor of Shreveport. Hey, Mr. John Paul, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How about you? Thanks for having me on the show.
Tell us about John Paul Young for mayor. Tell us about a little bit about yourself. You are, if not a political novice, at least not a part of the Shreveport deep state. Tell us a little bit about you.
I'm certainly not part of the deep state. Thank you. Well, so I grew up in Shreveport. My parents met at Centenary College. I went to public schools here, and like many young Shreveporters, I moved away for college. I went to New York and studied there for quite a while. When I was in law school in about 2013, I decided to move back to Shreveport because I learned about a kind of economic opportunity here that was going unrecognized. I have the good fortune to be in a position to use a large family property, which is a ranch that I'm turning into a sustainable farm, using resources that I learned about in law school, particularly our water, to make food and economic activity where before my family had only really seen expense and difficulty.
What makes you qualified to be mayor?
Sure. So, unlike all the other candidates for mayor, I see resources where other people see waste and expense. Unlike all the other candidates for mayor, I think that I can make Shreveport a cleaner, richer, safer place without borrowing extra money. I have, I think, the only affordable, sensible plan to rebuild our water system. And through quite a bit of community outreach, I've been spreading the word of this economic possibility to our poorer communities, to our young people through high schools.
What about fighting crime, John?
Sure. So fighting crime is really important. To fight crime, first, our police officers, I think, deserve another raise because they have a dangerous job. They also deserve a strong police chief who has more recent experience doing patrol and has the widespread respect of all the police corps.
So the current chief has to go?
Well, I think probably it would be good to have another police chief.
From inside the city, or would you search nationwide?
Well, so I think that one way to demonstrate that you are a good police chief is to have turned another city around. So I would look to other cities, but I would also look in our own department because those are the people who have the most experience in Shreveport. But there's a second part to preventing or to solving our crime problem as opposed to fighting it. We should also try to prevent crime. The way to do that is to have more economic activity, especially for young people who, when they are idle, get into trouble much more often, especially if they're from poor backgrounds.
Do you have some ideas on that front?
Trouble. Yes, I do. So right now I'm working with Fair Park Middle School to teach kids there who are labeled at risk how to grow fruit trees, how to grow vegetables without adding water to the system by capturing our rainwater through sustainable farming methods. Most of them find this rewarding and are eager to do it instead of their PE class. Many of them immediately recognized that this could be an entrepreneurial activity. They could make money from having fruit trees that they didn't need to take care of because they could have more and more. Their goal now is to turn the entire Fair Park campus into a giant orchard.
You know, Mr. John, I'm looking at your page right here, John Paul Young for Mayor.
That's right.
And in the first couple of paragraphs, in all caps, it says, "Let's grow Shreveport."
That's right.
I've listened to what you said the last couple of minutes. Tell me if I'm missing this. Are you telling me that Shreveport could be an agribusiness center?
So Shreveport gets, inside its city limits, 80 billion gallons of rain per year on average. Almost all that water is flushed into the river as quickly as possible. That water is the main ingredient in agribusiness. That water is the main ingredient in all human activities. Humans are mostly water. All that water could be put to use, or some of it could be put to use immediately to create profitable activities for many, many people in this city. So yes, you're correct. That also means that we could support a larger population if we started to manage our resources to create the extra economic and biological materials that people need to make their businesses and their own bodies. We could be a larger city.
Well, let me hear your thoughts on the Cross Bayou project, the $1 billion proposal. Is it a pipe dream? Is it something we should seriously look at?
So, like, anytime someone says, I want to give a bunch of money to you, you should listen to them and see what it sounds like. I personally believe that Shreveport and the other cities of America who are in similar positions are not going to be saved by huge projects that are too big to succeed or too big even to begin. This one may be too big to succeed or to begin. I don't know a single fact about it, really, and I don't know if there are any facts about it yet. My goal is to convince Shreveporters that thousands of small, affordable, permanent improvements can be made all over our city that create economic value where there is currently only expense. And that is how we will make ourselves attractive to outside investors and to our own children, who now almost all leave. The more capable our children are now, the more likely they are to move away.
When is your official announcement for mayor? When's your big deal going on?
Well, so we're sort of doing a slow ease into announcing. I have announced publicly on Facebook, and I'm undertaking a somewhat widely publicized project to plant 1,000 fruit trees in the city this season. About 700 have been planted. And so each one of those is a campaign event also, and also a permanent improvement to our landscape. And our first meet and greet is on Tuesday, March 27th, at my restaurant, which is called The Levee. This restaurant is a microcosm of the economy that Shreveport could have, because it is supplied by farms that harvest the rainwater passively, and has created 5 jobs, where before there was just an empty building and an empty ranch.
John Paul Young, candidate for mayor of Shreveport, thanks so much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much.
19 past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel traffic update. Here's Ruben.
Still keeping an eye on that heavy backed up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up past Benton Road right now. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning out breezy and warm today with intervals of clouds and sunshine, high about 80. Breezy and mild with clouds and a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Cinderella is alive and well in the NCAA tournament. 3 underdogs won Sweet 16 matchups, including 9th-seeded Kansas State knocking off SEC powerhouse Kentucky 61-58. The Big 12's Wildcats will face the darlings of the Big Dance, 11th-seeded Loyola of Chicago, who slipped past Nevada 69-68. Gonzaga, last year's national runner-up, fell to 9th-seeded Florida State 75-60. The Seminoles will face the only favorite to survive Thursday's Sweet 16 surprises. That's Michigan. The Wolverines wore out Texas A&M 99-72. This will be the first Elite Eight with more than one 9 seed still hanging around. The Pelicans are tied for the 4th spot in the Western Conference playoffs after rallying to beat the Lakers 128-125. New Orleans came back from an 11-point fourth-quarter deficit, with Anthony Davis paving the way with 33 points. Rajon Rondo added 24 points and 10 assists. This was the Pels' 5th game in 6 nights and their 3rd in 3 nights at home. And the Mudbugs host Corpus Christi tonight. A win at George's Pine and Hirsch Coliseum or a Lone Star loss to Amarillo will give the Bugs their first division title in NAHL play. Game time, 7:11 p.m. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
The best time to buy a new boat or
Absolutely, they do. Louisiana has some of the best teachers in America, and they're
The weekend, partly sunny today, high
Today. Thank you, sir. Enough for your time.
our kids are going to look back and say, "Well, did you fight or did you fold?"
Senator John
if-
Milkovich, I can't thank
fold.
Senator John Milkovich, I can't.
Twenty-five past 8 o'clock. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Last hour, we had United States Senator John Kennedy on, and he said that the omnibus budget bill, the $1.3 trillion bill that passed, his description was a Great Dane-size whiz down the leg of the American taxpayer.
He said he thought the president would sign it, but hope you're not on the plane yet. President has just tweeted, "I'm considering a veto of the omnibus spending bill based on the fact that," and this is a quote, "that the 800,000 plus DACA recipients have been totally abandoned by the Democrats, not even mentioned in the bill, and the border wall, which is desperately needed for our national defense, is not fully funded."
What does he mean the DACA recipients have been? Does that mean he, as a Republican, wants to embrace the Dreamer kids? There's only like 1.5 million or 2 million of those. I don't get this at all.
So even though all the senators and the House members are leaving, they're heading out for the weekend or for however long they have a break,
Yep.
they might have to turn around and come back.
If he vetoes the bill, at some point they've got 10 days, I believe. I forget exactly. Civics class was a long time ago.
Oh, boy.
The story you had yesterday, it literally is, and we've had folks on talking about, we'll start this here and pick it up in the next segment, about sex trafficking. And, pardon me, what amounts to sex slavery. And the story you had yesterday about the massage parlor bust is literally a sex slave ring.
Yes.
And
essentially.
No, not essentially. That's what it is. It's you are a prisoner and you will perform sex acts until I let you leave.
Until you pay off your debt to me.
You're like those little kids in the mine in the Indiana Jones movie, except worse.
Yeah.
Parky, tell me more about this.
I'm trying to pull it up, but basically, this lady,
Hyping Sun.
There you go. The police in West Monroe issued a warrant for arrest because it all started with a sting at one of the West Monroe massage parlors where an undercover cop was
undercover,
but not for long. But that's a different story. Anyway, they once they started investigating this, they realized, oh, this Sun lady owns massage parlors that have been busted in Bossier, massage parlors that got busted in Shreveport, down south.
Hold the thought. We'll come back after the news break because I want you to explain to everybody exactly the kind of worse than indentured servitude.
It's bad.
I want you to sort of give us a schematic of her organization. 29 past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Ruben's here.
The intersection at North Market near North Hearn Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning out breezy and warm today with intervals of clouds and sunshine, high about 80. Breezy and mild with clouds and a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
information. KEEL News now.
A bill requiring the motto, "In God We Trust," to be on display in public schools across Louisiana has been okayed by the Senate Education Committee. Baton Rouge Senator Regina Barrow is pushing the bill. She says our children are suffering from a lack of proper values. The proposed law mirrors measures in other southern states to bring the motto back to the walls of our schools. The Education Committee also discussed a measure that would give teachers more authority to intervene in a fight between students. Shreveport Senator John Milkovich proposed the measure, and he responded to questions about just how much force the teachers could impose.
That the level of force is reasonably proportional to the threat that's posed, that's existing at the time.
The bill died in committee. The battle over the Confederate monument heats back up. Ahead of a June court date, the Daughters of the Confederacy have asked a judge to depose 4 of the 7 commissioners who voted to move the monument from the courthouse grounds. The 4 commissioners in question, Lyndon Johnson, Stephen Jackson, Matthew Lynn, and Stormy Gage Watts, are fighting that request, unsure of why they are being singled out or why the public minutes from the meeting aren't enough. Another student in hot water for making threats. Matt Parker with that.
A Sabine Parish 7th grader has been arrested for making terroristic threats against Ebarb High School. According to the Sabine Parish Sheriff's Office, this is the 8th student in 6 weeks to be arrested for making threats against schools in the parish. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Ville Platte Senator Eric LaFleur filed a bill that would allow 19 and 20-year-olds to buy alcohol by themselves if they pass a drinking responsibility class and have their parents consent. The drinking age in most Western countries is 18 to 19, and the Ville Platte Democrat says you don't hear nearly as many stories about binge drinking sessions from those countries as you do from the U.S. He says kids are going to be kids no matter what the law says.
I don't know why we think our 19-year-olds are different than the 19-year-olds from Canada or from any European country or anywhere else.
The adult film star who says she had an affair with President Trump will be in town this weekend. Stormy Daniels will make appearances at Larry Flint's Hustler Club tonight and tomorrow. A record 965 million airline passengers flew in the U.S. last year. It's a 3.4% increase over 2016. 2 weeks in, and LSU is no closer to finding a starting quarterback than when spring practice started, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Tight end Foster Moreau says the 3 quarterbacks in contention all bring something different to the table.
Justin can throw the ball. He's got a cannon, but he could also scramble a little bit. Miles has a really sharp eye, and Noel's got a beautiful touch on the ball. Really, he's got really pretty touch on like a outside shoulder 9 route.
Moreau says despite the intense competition, the 3 are all getting along well and spirits are high at practice. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Okay, in the last segment, we were kind of talking about the prostitution ring, but it's to some degree it's worse than that.
Yeah, I would say
It's
so.
indentured servitude. It's sex slavery. It's a
Yes.
sex slave ring that was operating here in the Arklatex, Shreveport and Bossier and Monroe and elsewhere. And the woman who was running it all explained to everyone what exactly to use radio engineering terms. Give me a schematic of her operation.
So basically, there were these women in Asia, and somehow they hooked up with this Sun lady, gave her $40,000. Hey, you give me this money, I'll cover it. We'll bring you in. So they get these chicks here, right? These chicks from all over Asia, and well, you know, you don't have any cash. That's cool. So what we're going to do is put you to work in our massage parlors.
But these were way more than massage parlors.
So the girls would perform these sexual acts and not get paid for them as their
in other words, I owe you X number of dollars. Here's how you can work off your debt.
And these parlors, as we discussed maybe, I don't know how long ago, would advertise on that crazy site Backpage where you could go and get almost anything you want.
So what were the living conditions of these women?
Basically, they had two options depending on which parlor they lived in. They either all stayed in like this 1 or 2 bedroom apartment, like 10 girls, or you lived at the parlor. That's what's coming out of this investigation.
And you were not allowed. Were these
No.
women prisoners there?
Basically, from the report that I read, they weren't allowed to leave without supervision. So if they want to go buy groceries, there was a quote-unquote employee of the parlor with them to monitor, I guess, to make sure they didn't go to the authorities or whatever.
How many parlors in town are involved? Do we know?
They mentioned a couple of names. I don't have it in front of me, but
She owned about a dozen, didn't she?
Yeah, between Shreveport, Bossier, Monroe, Lafayette. I mean, they're all over the place.
You had said go to authorities. It's the possibility exists that because of their limited integration into American society,
Language barrier,
they may not have known that anything was wrong, that this was just how America operated.
This was how you paid off your debt.
Sexual slavery in the Arklatex.
Unbelievable.
839, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Congressman Mike Johnson just a couple of seconds away talking about the budget, and might Trump veto the thing now, and what's going on in Washington in the last 10 minutes, because it changes quick. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at North Market near North Hearn Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning out breezy and warm today with intervals of clouds and sunshine, high about 80. Breezy and mild with clouds and a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.117 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. In the blink of an eye, things change at the national level. Congressman Mike Johnson is here. Hey, Mr. Mike, thank you for taking time for us. What's up, man?
Hey, guys, I'm actually home. I got home late last night after the debacle of the week with that omnibus spending bill nonsense.
You might have to go back.
Well, thank you. I was driving my kids to school, and I just happened to, I was listening to you guys, as I do when I'm in town, and I heard Senator Kennedy's interview. And right after that, we all got the information by text that the president's tweeting that he may veto the bill, and that's a bombshell, and I hope that he does.
Well, let's start with what you called the debacle. We talked to Mr. John last hour about his Great Dane whiz analogy. We shan't repeat that, but explain to us Happy National Puppy Day.
Are your pants dry today, by the way?
Listen. It was. I sent him a text after I heard y'all talking about it this morning. I said, Senator, I just want you to know we haven't talked since Wednesday night, but in the heat of the battle, in the midst of our frustration, we saw your text come across. It literally made me stop and laugh until I cried, and I so needed that therapeutic reprieve.
So tell us why, to use your lexicon, it was a debacle.
So look, they presented us a bill. First of all, we got the bill at 7:59 p.m., okay, on Wednesday night. We were scheduled to vote on it about noon on Thursday. The bill's 2,232 pages long. Literally impossible for us to not only just complete an accurate and careful reading of the bill, much less, but to consider it. We had no chance at debate. We had no chance at input. This is not regular order. This is what, banana republics do. They get 4 or 5 people in a room and they dictate policy to everyone. That's not what we're supposed to be about. And when the American people delivered to the Republican Party, to conservatives, ostensibly, both houses of Congress and the White House, they expected us to change the way business is done. I mean, this is just like what Pelosi and company did with the Obamacare debacle. Let's pass it and see what's in it.
Pardon me, Mike. You're telling me that there's this sort of contingent, this behind-the-scenes team of Democrats and establishment Republicans, and when it came to this bill, are you telling me the fix was in?
There's really no other way to describe it, and I don't want to dump on our Republican leadership in the House. They say that their hands are tied because of the archaic rules in the Senate, as everybody knows, with the filibuster rules and cloture and all that. In layman's terms, what it means is you got to have 60 votes to pass the budget, and so you need at least 9 Democrats to go along with the Republican majority to get it done, which puts Chuck Schumer in the driver's seat. Now, what I say in response to that argument is, let's blow up that archaic rule. It only dates back to the 1970s. This is not what the founders of our country intended. It's not the way it's supposed to work. Let's go to majority vote in the Senate. If we do that, we can actually advance the agenda and get beyond all this nonsense. But there's not the political will to do that. For whatever reason, McConnell and company won't do it, and that's ultimately our problem.
Kind of a two-part question here as regards this $1.3 trillion bill. If sort of if the fix was in with, for lack of a better term, deep state guys, the establishment guys of both parties, did the president know what was going to be in the bill? Did they think he was going to go along with it? I know publicly he had said, I will sign it. And his tweet this morning that you just talked about, it's a bombshell that the president says, I may not sign it. Is he... Explain to me, is this a presidential double cross? What's going on?
Robert, that's the question of the morning, and I'll tell you a little inside baseball here. I got a call about 24 hours ago from the White House. It was about an hour before the vote, so mid-morning yesterday. I got a call from the White House, their liaison, who's assigned to me, who says, Mike, we really, really need you. The president needs you to vote yes on this. I said, let me tell you something. I can't be a yes on this bill, and the president shouldn't either. Does the president know what's in this legislation? Well, we met with leadership yesterday. Has the president reviewed? I said to the fellow I was talking on the phone, have you read the bill? No one in the White House has read this bill. You couldn't have. It just got released. It's 2,232 pages long. They're not being honest with the president. I said, look, our nation's top military officials have repeatedly warned Congress the number one threat to our national security is our debt. We're going to do $1 trillion in deficit spending. We're going to borrow from China to do all these Chuck Schumer priorities. I mean, have you looked at the bill? I mean, I'm going through this with the White House. It has nothing for border security efforts. I mean, just a little pittance for, a small part of a wall. No restrictions on sanctuary cities. We got funding for Planned
excuse me,
Parenthood.
Mike,
Obamacare is kept intact. The White House doesn't know what's going on.
Pardon me just a second. So yesterday morning, you are being lobbied. You are being worked by the president's people to vote yes. And it seemed the president was a go. Hell, publicly he was saying he would vote.
They had
for
already
it.
said it. That's right. They publicly stated it. Yeah.
So let's be a political analyst here. Mike Johnson, political pundit. What happened in those 10 or 12 hours?
Well, I think that the president began to see the backlash. He saw that 90 of us in the House, 90 conservatives in the House, Republicans voted no. I'm sure that got his attention. And then what happened in the Senate late last night? He's hearing the backlash from people like me and Senator John Kennedy and others who said we could not go along with this, and here's the 1,000 reasons why, not just because of the process, but because of the content of the bill itself. And this is not what the American people sent us to Congress to do. We've got to change the way business is done. I think the president is hearing all that this morning, and it's gotten his attention. And I think he's scratching his head and wondering why no one told him all of this yesterday.
That's my question. You just said a minute ago, you said the White House didn't know what was in it. How does that even happen?
So, Erin, look, the process is broken, right? And when you have a handful of people in a back room making legislation like this, they go and they make a report. They literally sit down in the Oval Office with the president and give him the summary of what the legislation is.
And then his people call you and tell you to vote for it when they don't even know what's in it.
That's exactly what I told him on the phone. I said, guys, I don't think you fully understand what it is you're asking us to support here. I think everybody needs to take a deep breath, slow down, and review this thing, because it's a terrible mistake for the president, for the country, for all of us.
So if he vetoes it, what happens?
Well, if he vetoes it, then we've all got to turn around and go right back to Washington, because the government will shut down, quote unquote, on Saturday, because that's when the funding is up. That's the deadline.
Midnight tonight.
Yeah, that's right. So what we'll have to do is go back to Washington and I guess start from scratch. Here's an important point. The House has done its job, and I mean, we can't emphasize this enough. Last year and over the last few months, we passed 12 separate appropriations bills. That's the way the system is designed to work. It's what's supposed to be done. We use regular order, amendment process. All of us had a say in that. We sent those 12 separate bills, not an omnibus, not everything lumped in together like this monstrosity is. Mm-hmm. 12 separate appropriations bills the House passed in regular order. First time it's been done in over nearly 30 years. We sent it to the Senate. And you know what they did with it? Nothing. It
So we
sits in the hopper.
did Mike Johnson prognosticator in about 10 more seconds. We did Mike Johnson pundit, now Mike Johnson prognosticator. Veto, yay or nay, yes or no?
My guess is right now I think he may veto it. And frankly, I hope he does.
Congressman,
we can do better, and we should.
Mike Johnson, thanks so much, and I look forward to you giving me some of your frequent flyer miles.
I've got a bunch.
849, it's 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Traffic.
The intersection at North Market near North Hearn Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687.
I'm Jennifer Kashinka with your Money Now. Stocks opening mixed after yesterday's sell-off. The Dow Industrial's up 20 at 23,977. The Nasdaq is down 28. The S&P 500 is off a point. The parents of Star Trek actor Anton Yelchin have reached a settlement with the makers of the SUV that killed him.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning out breezy and warm today with intervals of clouds and sunshine, high about 80, breezy and mild with clouds and a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
You're listening to American Ground Radio's Morning Minute.
This week, former Vice President Joe Biden said that if he had gone to high school with Donald Trump, he would have taken him out behind the gym and beat him up.
These sorts of comments are dehumanizing, and folks do it all the time. They call conservatives racist, greedy, heartless, elitist. Is it really that far to rationalize opening fire on a congressional GOP baseball practice when this is what you think of conservatives? Is it that far of a stretch to set the campus on fire where a conservative talk is being held, or telling marchers in Washington that you've thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House?
Joe Biden's old boss used to say we must disagree without being disagreeable. Joe Biden failed that very simple test.
American Ground Radio, where building a better America begins with building a better us. Return each weeknight from 6 to 7 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, and streaming live at KEELnews.com.
Hey there, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty for Stone Forks Restaurant in historic Highland Shreveport on Kings Highway. Under new ownership. Chris is the fella's name. I think the best job you can do relating to sell Stone Forks is to tell people about the ribeye you had.
Oh, the ribeye was almost melt in your mouth. You ever had a ribeye that you really don't even need a knife to cut? It was so juicy and delicious.
She didn't ask for ketchup.
No, I don't. No ketchup. You're going to find not only great steaks, but lots of Southern-inspired specialties and the desserts to die for.
And they open 7 days a week at 10 in the morning under new ownership.
Great place for a romantic getaway, or even if you're having a business meeting, you've got to try Stone Forks Restaurant.
Stone Forks, East Kings Highway. You know where it is. Everybody knows where it is in Shreveport. So Congressman Mike Johnson, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, Congressman Mike Johnson says he thinks the president's going to veto.
And they'll have to all turn around and go back.
It's, and he made an interesting point. Mr. Mike made, as always, a very interesting point. The people who write the bills, that's sort of what I call deep state, what the establishment Dems and even Republicans. I mean, it's 2,000 something pages.
Oh.
They can tell you what's in it. That doesn't mean that's what's in it.
Exactly.
And that would evidently, at least in the president's response and Mike's analysis, seem to be the case. Back Monday morning, 6 to 9. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Kim Commando.
Accident this past week with a pedestrian and an Uber self-driving car should be a wake-up call. Kim Commando with your Friday Consumer Tech Update. 2 weeks ago, Uber published videos of passengers riding in self-driving cars. All of them were happy and carefree. Last Sunday night in Tempe, Arizona, one of those Uber cars struck and killed a pedestrian as she was pushing her bike across the street. Like the passengers I just mentioned, the so-called safety driver wasn't paying attention either. The dashcam video is hard to watch. The Uber car's headlights don't show the victim in the darkness until the last few seconds. The question, why did the car's LiDAR, the combination of laser and radar, see that woman even in the darkness? This scenario is precisely where self-driving technology is supposed to excel, but in real life, the results were catastrophic. I, for one, am asking if we've put the public in danger with these complex artificial intelligence technology that's clearly not ready for prime time. I'm Kim Commando. Time once again to talk about dinner this coming week, and it doesn't involve a restaurant or takeout or even grocery shopping. Just sitting down to enjoy an easily prepared, delicious home-cooked meal. And that's what you get with HelloFresh. I'm talking about simple recipes and the freshest pre-measured ingredients delivered right to your door. Just go to HelloFresh.com, choose from a variety of recipes across veggie, classic, and family plans, and then your meals arrive with easy-to-follow full-color instructions. With HelloFresh, you can whip up dinner in 30 minutes or less, and there are lots of one-pot recipes for speedy cooking and minimal cleanup. After 2 or 3 weeks with HelloFresh, you're going to love your new dinner routine. Simple and fun to cook and enjoy. Delicious home-cooked meals. For a limited time, get $30 off your first box at HelloFresh.com/Kim, plus get free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/Kim. You're going to get $30 off plus free shipping. The address, HelloFresh.com/Kim.
The intersection at North Market near North Hearn Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, turning out breezy and warm today with intervals of clouds and sunshine, high about 80, breezy and mild with clouds and a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.
And Monroe and elsewhere.